To the September 17th, 2025 meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. This meeting is being held virtually via Zoom video conference and is also being broadcast by FCTV on cable channel 9. As this meeting is being recorded by Zoom and broadcast by FCTV, please be cognizant of what you say, how you say it, and what can be seen and heard in your background. We have a full complement tonight. We're just waiting for Ronnie to get his computer on. So thank you all for your dedication. Really appreciate it. I'd like to remind the commissioners that for commenting, I will call on each of you in turn. So please refrain from speaking over each other. Also, all votes are done by roll call. So when I call your name, please state your name and your vote for the record, even if you made the motion or seconded. To our public attendees, at any time during this meeting, you may enter any comment or question via the chat function. At the appropriate time, they will be read into the record. If an attendee would like to participate in a particular hearing, let us know via the chat function. Then, at the appropriate time, you will be promoted into the hearing as a participant. When you are selected, you must have your video enabled, be succinct, respectful of others. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes each. Regarding RDAs, under request for determination of applicability, the applicant is asking the commission to determine if the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and/or the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw apply to their proposed project. A negative determination is that the provisions of the Act and/or the bylaw do not apply. Therefore, the project may proceed as proposed. A positive determination means the provisions of the Act and/or the bylaw do in fact apply and/or may require some conditions. Therefore, the project would require a notice of intent application. So, as an applicant, you want to hear a negative determination. For the benefit of anyone waiting for a particular hearing tonight, and so that you're not waiting unnecessarily, the following hearings are expected to be continued. Let me see, we had a RDA at 354 West Falmouth Highway and 2 Lawrence Street in East Falmouth also. So if you wait, go ahead, Jen.
No, Russell, to Lawrence Street is not being continued. If it does say that, unfortunately, we did update that agenda, which is why I asked. It was confusing the way the email was worded. We are hearing 2 Lawrence Street tonight.
Okay, so we're hearing 2 Lawrence Street and 202 Edgewater
Correct.
Drive?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Cool. I apologize. We are hearing Lawrence Street tonight, and we also 202 Edgewater Drive. So
Correct.
those 2 hearings, it's just that one continuance on that RDA, right?
Correct.
Okay. Good. And that's it. So first item on the agenda is to vote minutes of August 27th, 2025 executive session.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the executive session of August 27th as written.
I'll second it.
I thought could we also add to that we will release, we're going to hold the minutes for now. And until this matter is resolved, then we'll release them. But we can go ahead and vote the executive session minutes. So, okay. So we're gonna.
All right, Driscoll second.
Okay, and like I say, we will hold the minutes until the matter is resolved. So,
Correct.
All right. Okay, thank you. I'm going to call the roll. Courtney.
Bird, aye.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
Ron.
Driscoll, aye. Sorry, Steve.
Can't I?
Ronnie's not here with us yet. Dave.
Can't I?
And Bill.
Duffy, aye.
Okay, very good. Unanimous. Request for determination of applicability. Todd Taylor, 0 Chappaquiddick Road, map parcel ID 24-07-002-000, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove granite pillars and relocate a guard shack. Alyssa,
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
so we
I
have a
just have a-
motion and a second.
Just have a quick question. Where are they moving the guard shack?
It's just being pivoted to allow for more room for cars to turn around if they need to.
Okay.
Yeah, Courtney, it's going like this to like this.
Sounds like a major move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll I.
Dave,
Can't I?
Bill,
Duffy I.
Robbins is an aye. So you accept the staff's recommendation on that. Yay. Next is Elliott Polbaum, 354 West Falmouth Highway, West Falmouth, Mass, for permission to Vista prune according to FWR 10.18, 10 and B. Alyssa.
Yes, the applicant has requested a continuance until September 24th.
The room.
It should be quick.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Driscoll seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to continue to September 24th. I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll I.
Dave,
Can't I?
Bill.
Duffy I.
Thank you. And Robbins is an aye. So unanimous. Continue there. Okay. So this is hearings under a notice of intent. Gotta read my preamble here. So all hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And first up tonight is this was continued right before we've already
Correct.
opened this one, right, Jen?
Correct.
Laura McSweeney and William J. McDonough, 2 Lawrence Street, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to construct a second story and install mitigation plantings, and for after the fact permission for construction of a shed, elevated stone patio, and rinse station. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and for the record, the quorum is everyone for this hearing. And I have promoted Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, to present his project. Mike, am I voting up Attorney Flower or no? I'm assuming this is why he's here.
He is available, and if he is there, he should be impaneled.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Somebody just popped in and everybody's moving around here. I'm promoting Kevin Clower up, Mr. Chairman.
Am I
Mike.
up? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering. I represent the applicant along with Kevin Clower. My understanding is Kevin's participating as best he can. He's in his car shuffling kids to soccer practice. So I think I'd rather be in this meeting than doing that, but he's trying to do both. So just for the record, the quorum is everyone, you said, so all the members here tonight are the quorum. There's no alternates. Everyone's on the voting quorum.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is a continued hearing. If you remember, there were some issues and concerns raised at the original hearing. The proposal before you was to renovate the house to put a second story onto the house and not expand the footprint. When we applied, and your staff went through their records and looked at aerial photos, they discovered some unpermitted activities that had occurred that required mitigation planting. They could have been approved, but they were not applied for. The proposed work, ironically, doesn't require mitigation planting because it's a second story on top of the existing footprint. So we went through the project. That there were some comments, one of which was that there is a salt marsh nearby. And with your permission, I'd like to share my screen to point this out.
Please do, Mike.
Thank you. So the record plan that has been revised on September 9th now shows to the south, there's a finger-like projection of salt marsh. And then to the north, there's some fragments or final little chunks, if you will, of salt marsh remaining along an abutting property's retaining wall and on the corner of a wall that was approved by you several years ago. But because they're both recognized as salt marsh, it changed the no disturbance zone A in a way that it captured everything you see in blue that was not originally permitted. So we've done the calculations on the mitigation required, and the notes for that are on the plan. There's a requirement for 1,335 square feet of mitigation planting, and we're proposing to provide 1,340. One of the things that we revised on this plan, based on some comments from the commission, there's already an ornamental garden here. So instead of taking that out for the mitigation planting, it seemed like that was a concern. I think it was Commissioner Kent asked about that. It might have been Commissioner Duffy. Now I can't remember. But in any event, we're not going into that area. So we're showing in green the proposed mitigation. Part of it is on the paper road known as Little Bay Street, and part of it is on the property. The intention was that it all be 10 feet from the structure. There were staff comments on the revised plan. And I'm just going to go through those quickly because some of them were new and I missed them originally. Number one was evidently there's some stepping stones in the front yard and some pavers where the trash bins are that I didn't show on the plan. Happy to do that. The elevated patio, which is this area here, the staff's looking for an area of that because that is the portion that's in the Falmouth velocity zone should be noted because it should be counted towards the maximum of 200 square feet allowed for additions to structures. Staff is of the opinion that's elevated structure. I'm not going to argue about that, but we can give you that number. There was a comment about mitigation being 10 feet or more, or not closer than 10 feet from the front stoop. So over here, there's a front stoop, and I guess I'm a little less than 10 feet here. I can adjust that. This stone landing is going away, but this steps and stoop, I can adjust this to be 10 feet away. It'll require me to make this grow a little bit to offset that. And then the final comment is about staff's opinion that they don't believe that any mitigation should be in the paper road known as Little Bay Street. And we knew the staff had that opinion, and we talked about it, and we talked about it at the last hearing. And I thought we had come to a consensus that we could work it out. So because of the multiplying effect of these little areas of salt marsh requiring everything to be 3-to-1 instead of some being 3-to-1 and some being 2-to-1, because of what's going on and what exists on the lot, some of the mitigation had to drift into the paper road. Understanding staff's concerns, we submitted to the record a letter from Kevin Clower that went through the history of Little Bay Street and his opinion that the applicant owns Little Bay Street on their frontage. So since it's owned, it's considered to be part of their land. We believe they have the ability to provide mitigation within the paper road under their ownership. Steph's disagreeing with that. So we think we've provided the evidence. I also would refer you to other projects. This has been allowed on other projects nearby, just north of here, ironically, one street on Providence Street and I think one more street north of Providence, Hiawatha. There's proposed mitigation, restoration, planting in the paper road known as Little Bay Street because it's under the ownership of those property owners. Staff is of the opinion that it shouldn't be in there, and if you don't have room, you should take out some of the things that weren't permitted. So I guess looking to the commission to rule on that and deliberate, but I'm in a bit of a quandary because I'd like to know before you close how the commission feels, not after you close, because then things can get a little more complicated. If there were a denial, we'd have to refile or appeal. But if I knew how the board felt as a commission and how they would be voting, I might make a decision to do something else. I just don't know how the commission feels. So that sums up where we're at. And I'd like an opportunity to have the option to continue if I feel like I need to. But I would like to get a sense of where the board is going with this. With that, I'll stop sharing and take questions.
Mike, before we go to questions, good evening, members of the commission. For the record, Kevin Clower. As Mike noted, I am currently between soccer fields with a few kids in the car, but doing the best I can to cobble this together. I don't have much to add beyond what was in the letter, but in some, when property abuts a paper road, there is a presumption that the fee ownership in that road is held by the abutting property owner, at least to the center line. And when there's no parcel on the other side of the street, as it was not in the original subdivision plan, they're presumed to own the entirety of that way. So the fee in Little Bay Road along that abuts this property at 2 Lawrence is owned by the applicants. It is their property, subject to the rights of others to pass over some portion of it. So putting mitigation plantings in the area directly abutting their lot would not frustrate that purpose, and they should be allowed to do so accordingly.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Court, why don't you lead us off?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say one thing, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
So Mike made some vague references to Hiawatha and Providence. We have no idea what Mr. Borselli is talking about. So if the board is going to take those comments as we've done this in the past, staff would like an opportunity to truth those those projects. It could have been restoration that was required and not mitigation. There are a lot of different factors that could have played into those two, and we don't know which two properties Mr. Borselli is referring to. So we can work with Mike to get those property addresses and find out what the actual facts of those cases are. If the board is going to use those two examples to guide your opinion. Second, generally this board does not allow mitigation in a paper road. Yes, they may presumed, as Kevin said, owned to the center line. Although there is no property that's shown on the deed, there is a property on the other side of that road shown on GIS with an ownership to it. I don't know how that jives with the deed, but there is a parcel on the other side that is shown on GIS. Currently underwater, but it's there. We don't know why, it's just there. And we had another engineering company reach out and get permission. Somehow, I can't remember again, I have to double check the facts of the case. But generally this board does not allow mitigation in that it's a significant amount of mitigation. It appears just graphically, it could be almost half of that mitigation. And I'd like to remind the board the mitigation is because the applicant needs to mitigate for structures that were constructed without valid permits. So these are after the fact filings. So again, they have to put the mitigation somewhere for work they did without valid permits. And generally the board in the past has not allowed this. And Mike, if you could get me the two cases that you're talking about, the actual specific property addresses, we can look at those if the board's going to continue, and we can talk about those with you.
I could
Do
give
you know which ones they
uh,
are off the top of your head?
I can certainly give it to you in the next 30 seconds. I just have to look at the GIS. But
Yep, that's fine. That's
I'll
all
send-
I have. I don't know if Alyssa has anything to add. Russell, thank you.
Alyssa, you got anything?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
All right, now Cork, why don't you lead us off?
The paper road, does it end at this property or go by it? I'm sorry, I didn't see it on the plan, that's all.
I can answer that. I just, before I do, the properties in question are Capo Bianco, which is number 4 Hiawatha Street,
Okay.
and Tobias, which is number 2 Providence Street.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Sure, and to answer Courtney's question, I'm going to share my screen. And when I share my screen, I'm going to show you that Little Bay Street travels north and south, and it continues along. Although it's called Little Bay Street, it is along the shore of Little Pond, and it is basically vegetated or water or in some cases lawn area. There's no road. So much of it is under the ocean. Other areas are invasives or naturalized brush areas, and some happen to be lawn. So that's why I've always felt as though the commission wanted the mitigation as close as possible to the resource. So I thought that, in addition to the fact we don't have room, it's a better location for it. And we didn't cross the center line. So with regard to that ghost lot that's under the pond and a property owner, we're not needing permission from them because we're not on their side. Their side, ironically, is still going to be grass. So I hope that answers your question, Commissioner Bird. And I'll stop sharing.
That's the only question I had.
Steve,
Yeah, my question was about the center line. If You're saying that I can't really tell, but it appears that you're entirely on your side of the center line, so to speak.
Absolutely, it was designed that way, yeah.
Okay. That was the only question I had. I'm more comfortable now.
Thanks, Steve. Ron,
No questions this time. Yeah, thank you.
Honey?
I think I was the one who brought up the paper road and who had ownership of that. And I think that's why he delved in. Mike had reached out to Kevin on that matter. And I feel strongly if they own that, we would like to see the mitigation close to the water in the resource area. I think that's what we're trying to achieve overall in most of these hearings. So I'm in favor of that.
Thanks, Ronnie. Dave?
Hey, Mike, on this, I have a plan in front of me on the desk here. Is the eastern edge of Little Bay Street shown on the plan?
Yes,
How far is it? I mean, maybe you can show me. Maybe you can show me again on your screen. I have the plan here in front of me, but
hold on 1 minute. The eastern edge, so
how far-
Little Bay Street is 30 feet wide. The western edge I'm tracing,
uh-huh.
the eastern edge is right here.
Oh, that's that line there. That line there is the edge. Okay, pretty much.
Yes, so the center line you will see is right here. So we're staying entirely on the lot side of the center line.
See, okay.
Even though we have an opinion from Kevin that we should be able to plant in here, we've chosen not to just avoid that as an issue.
Okay.
Even though we think it's better to have the planting over here because it's closer to the resource.
Well, that's what Ronnie thinks. I think I missed, Mike, the importance of those two properties that you just gave us the addresses for. Why did they come up? I think I missed that.
Well, they're examples of other properties that were reviewed by the commission that issued orders of conditions allowing work within the paper road known as Little Bay Street, even though it was for the property adjacent that was owned by, and it was the same fact pattern. Those owners had owned to a fee to the central line.
Okay, great. One last question. This may be for Jen. In the letter from Kevin, he mentions some parts of the Massachusetts general law. Are we experienced with that? Is this a law we've used before, or is that new to us as a commission? The argument he's making based
I
on
have not looked into that, and again, Dave, the board usually does not allow mitigation on that. I am going to disagree with Mike. We do not know if the fact patterns of the two properties he mentioned are the same fact patterns in this case, and I'm going to withhold agreeing to that until I research the two properties that I do not know off my top of my head. And this is the first we heard about it tonight, when Mr. Borselli could have brought it up and given us those cases before tonight's hearing. But I'm not familiar with the general law that Kevin is citing. I do know that, there is it's presumed someone owns to the center line. Whether or not a property owner owns an adjacent property or not. Let's say this property owner owned property in, North Falmouth. Would this board allow their mitigation to be planted in North Falmouth? The board has always, whether there's a vacant adjacent property or not, this board has always required the mitigation to be on the subject property. And in this case, that would be to Lawrence Street and not the paper road of Little Bay.
But as far as the ownership of that's still up in the air, it sounds like, right?
That's a legal opinion, Dave, and I just,
I understand.
Yeah.
It's we're not sure about that. Yes. Okay.
Commissioner, if I
I
can speak to that real quick. It's a statute referred to as the derelict fee statute, and it's basically meant to address the ownership of roads where the fee in the road was never conveyed. So and what it says is that the fee is held by the abutting property up to the center line, and if there's nothing on the other side, and in this case, we look at the plan of record, which I included in the letter. The plan of record doesn't show a lot on this side. There may well be a lot on this side, but it wasn't part of the subdivision at the time it was created. Because that there was nothing on this side, the entire fee would be owned by the applicants. However, as Mr. Borselli's pointed out, it's been limited just to the half, the closest to them, up to the central line, just to avoid any question of ambiguity. But the fee, the statute in question is referred to as the derelict fee statute.
That's all I've got.
Thanks, Kevin.
Mr. Commissioner Robbins, just to, I hate to use the word rebut, but I just wanted to clarify something Jen said. She said that you never allow any mitigation in the paper roads. I don't like to disagree with Jen. It's not in my best interest to, but I have to respectfully disagree today, tonight, because of the case I referenced that she doesn't recall, and I have put it on the record now tonight, and so I think if you look at the one on Hiawatha, for certain, you'd agree that it has happened before. So I don't.
And Mike, and I'll research that. And
Okay.
if it's happened, I'll admit that, Mike. I'm not going to
Yeah,
sit
no,
there and
I-
say it didn't. I unfortunately, I'd love to just jump on my computer and look it up real quick. Unfortunately, and I meant to do this before tonight's hearing, if I try to jump onto the server at work, everybody's going to freeze.
Yeah, I get that. No problem. at all.
So I don't mean to prolong it, Mr. Chairman. I said, but I do want to check those two cases just to make sure the fact pattern is lines up. That's all.
Right. Bill, anything, Bill?
I'd be willing to wait to find out if it's indeed fact, because if it is, I think hearing the rest of the board, I think would be a quick resolution at an upcoming meeting.
Okay. I have one. Thanks, Bill. Kevin, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
It's Russ. Hey,
I'm parked. I'm parked now. Kids are out of the car. I'm in the game.
what's the score?
Well, no, just practices, just many practices.
What is the difference between a paper road and a right-of-way?
Not much is the answer, but a paper road is laid out and meets certain dimensions. You know, in this case, we're 30 feet wide. It could have been developed as a road at some point, much like any of the streets in the Mara Vista neighborhood. However, it never was. It's a road that was never developed. A right-of-way isn't necessarily a road. It could be an easement. It could be a path. It could be a number of things. So a paper road is a road that's laid out on a plan, but was simply never developed.
Okay, so could a neighbor, not saying it would happen in this case, but could a neighbor cross that property to whatever, move something, and maybe they're doing something structurally on their house? Could something be driven through that paper road from one neighbor to another? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, theoretically, but that there is room there that, you know, you can place structures or landscaping or other things in a paper road where you own the fee, provided you don't frustrate the ability of someone to still pass over a portion of that. And that's been left as a viable option here.
You know, that's somebody would pass over that, and there goes your mitigation, or potentially, how would you work that out? You know what I mean?
We left part of it open as grass.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, I think Mike brought up those other two properties. I think it would be fair to allow Jen a chance to look at this and come back with that. I don't know how the board feels, but let me know. Cord, I see it with your hand up.
Yeah, I think that Jen should look into this because, you know, it's going to affect, these kinds of issues are going to come up again. And the thing that I'm concerned about is if you put mitigation in the road, and for some reason, although whether or not we can conceive of it at this point, things change, and for some reason they unpaperize the road, there goes the mitigation. And so, on the other hand, it might make sense for town council to weigh in on this issue, as to whether or not, if mitigation is put out there as a condition for construction and modifications to a piece of adjoining property. I think I'm willing to go along. I'm happy to go along with whatever advice is, but I think we've got to be careful about the precedent we set. And so my feeling at this point would be to continue it for a while, and until we get all this information, in hand.
Yeah. So, Mike, is that what you were looking for when you talked about continuing? Do you have enough?
No, I would like to know if I would like a straw poll tonight, because asking town council is like, she's super busy. We're not gonna get an answer from her for months.
We don't know that, Mike.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about Jen doing that research and coming back with that information. I mean, personally,
Oh, yeah,
I would
I'm
be
happy to ask for a continuance for that. Absolutely. Yes.
I think, and what? Yes, Jen.
No, I'm
Yes,
happy to
Jen.
do the research. I'm just going to chide Mike right now. This board doesn't do straw polls, and I'm going to say naughty, Mike. But I'm happy to do the research.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Yes, you do. You've asked before. We haven't done a straw poll in 15 years. Anyway, I'm happy to do the research.
I'll have to share a case recently where you did that too. No.
I'm happy to send the plans to the board. I'm looking at one now, Hiawatha. It seems a majority of the plantings in the paper road are actually restoration plantings. The mitigation is 95% on the subject property. But I'm looking at this. The board doesn't have the opportunity to look at this. Mike doesn't have the opportunity. So let us go back. Let us do the research. You said 4 Hiawatha, Mike, and 2 Providence, correct? Capobianco and Tobias.
Yeah, and the one at 4 Hiawatha is much more than you just suggested. But anyway.
Well, I'm looking at the plan, so maybe 90% is on the subject parcel. It's the problem with that is the paper road goes and bends. I will send the plans to the board. Mike, we will send you what we send to the board, and I just think if the board's going to use those 2 other examples, you should, since this board's not familiar with those projects, you should have an opportunity to review those projects.
Yeah,
that's all.
Understood. One more comment, responding to Commissioner Byrd about, things change. I know things change, but I know one thing that would never change. This commission would never allow development of Little Bay Street because it's in the no disturbance zone A and it's partially underwater. So it would never happen. And I don't think ever very often, but I can feel confident in this case it would never happen.
Okay. Anyone else got anything? Okay, I'll entertain a motion, I guess, to continue.
Let me see what a good continuance date is, Mike. How about the 8th of October? Would that work for you, Mike?
Yeah, because next week isn't going to be good enough time, in the first year not meeting. So
yeah. So the 8th of October, Mike.
I request that continuance.
So I'll make a motion that at the request of the applicant, we continue this hearing until October 8th.
Driscoll second.
We have a motion, a second, to continue till October 8th. We'll call a roll. Any other comments or questions? Anything in the chat function, Jen? Before we vote?
Nothing in the chat function.
All right, so I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Can't tie.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So we're continuing on this till October 8th. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Michael and Marnie Farrell, 202 Edgewater Drive East, LLC, 202 Edgewater Drive East, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to construct a dock. I think, is this Mike?
Yes.
again?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mike Borselli is still with us this evening to present his project in 202 Edgewater Drive East.
Oh, boy.
Good evening again, Mike.
Good evening. Again, for the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant. This is a continued hearing. Staff had original comments, and some of which involved some clarifications on the shellfish survey and associated report that was prepared by Megalodon. As you all know, you need to do a shellfish survey and an associated report, and there was some things that needed either clarification or correction that are still unresolved and need to be corrected. Megalodon, since we just learned about this and there hasn't been time, there wasn't time for staff to get together with Megalodon to sort that out. So as I present this, I'm already going to tell you I'm requesting a continuance till October 8th, but I wanted to just hear from you about any other issues or concerns you might have in addition to what staff had. That way, maybe it's more efficient, and if it's satisfactory on the 8th, we can close the hearing. So the other issues that were raised by staff, I've addressed all of them other than the ones related to the shellfish matter. So just simply, as you know, when we do dock designs, if they cross a marsh, which this does, you have a requirement for 50% sunlight penetration decking. There's a trade named through flow decking. So we proposed through flow decking on this one section that bridges the salt marsh. But it wasn't clear if it was also proposed on the whole section that spans, and it wasn't clear about this one little section here. So we've put more notes on the plan that make it absolutely clear that anything bridging that section of salt marsh is through flow decking. In addition, that this section is elevated above the marsh as per DMF standards, which is 1.5 times the width of the dock to the underside of the stringers. So we've already addressed that concern. There was a concern about a previous application for some decks that I was not involved with, but some issues came up for some clarification on the required mitigation. There were 3 areas of native plantings required as part of that deck construction, and your staff asked me to verify the area of mitigation and the number of plants that were planted. So I'm going to get that to you by October 1st, which is 1 week prior to October 8th. There was a comment that it appears that the steps off the side deck, which I believe are these steps off the side deck, were not permitted. So there's a small area that we might need to mitigate for
Mike,
that.
I don't mean to cut you off. Do you have your plan up on the screen?
I do. Right now I do.
I didn't have it before. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for cutting you off.
So the through flow decking sections, do you want me to go back over that?
No, I just
Okay.
I saw something's wrong with my computer.
These steps appear not to be permitted. We're going to provide the mitigation for that. This step appears that it might be slightly bigger, so we have to look into that. There was a comment about there being a gravel area between these steps and the driveway that was unpermitted. It wasn't there when we did the original survey. It may have been placed innocently by the owner. He has subsequently taken it out, so it's no longer there. It was taken out in response to the staff report. I apologize for not sharing my screen. I just got carried away, but I'm going to show you now one more time the through flow decking where it bridges the salt marsh. We've added notes to make that very clear that anything near or crossing the salt marsh will be through flow decking. So the matters of the shellfish survey and report are still unresolved. I think I'm well on my way to addressing all the other concerns. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get other feedback from you so that if everything goes well, maybe on the 8th, we'll be able to close the hearing. With that, I'll take questions.
Thanks, Mike. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, most of our comments are with the shellfish survey. We need to get a hold of Megalodon and find out what they did. It appears from the data they gave us that they did the shellfish survey for a T-configured dock, not a straight I configured dock. So we need to talk to Megalodon. They may need to go out and do additional shellfish work.
I have spoken directly with Megalodon staff today, and then I also emailed them to make it very clear they need to reach out to you.
Mike, thank you, Jen. Alyssa.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Steve, why don't you start us off on this one?
Thanks. I had some questions about the flow decking. The staff always gets my little things that I think I can find that they didn't. But other than that, shellfish survey is necessary. Continue till the 8th seems fine.
Thanks, Steve. Ron.
I'm with Steve. All the areas seem to have been addressed except for the shellfish. So I'll wait for that.
Okay. Ronnie.
October 8th.
All right, Dave.
No questions.
Bill.
Did actually have one question, just in the staff report. That's a note of concerns of 2 proposed mooring fields, and the commission typically only permits 1. Is that like statute or law, or is that just something that's been typical? As a newer commission, I'm just curious of the reasoning why only 1 would be permitted instead of typically 1.
I can answer that,
Yeah.
Bill. So it is in the regulations, I believe, and we can cite that regulation for you. I think the reasoning behind it is we usually see a T-configured dock, and the T-configured dock is in that deeper water, and the board never wants to see additional boats tied alongside a dock where it's not going to meet the water depth required. So usually when we have these types of I configuration docks, there's language in there that one side has to have a railing. You can't tie a boat up to it. But I do believe it just has to do with the water depth. They were written a while ago. I can't remember exactly why we have that off the top of my head, but we can get you that specific that citation of that specific regulation.
Okay, and if they do that, it was mentioned that Megalodon would have to do more for survey. Is that what you guys were talking about?
Correct. The way the surveys are done, they're supposed to be a certain distance off the mooring field, and it doesn't appear that was done with the data they gave us. So we just need to have a conversation with Megalodon to make sure that we're reading their survey correctly, or if they need to go out and do additional work.
Thank you much. That's all I had.
Mr.
No
Chairman,
problem.
if I could just save everyone a lot of homework there. We've already decided to eliminate one mooring field.
All right.
I didn't want to
Thank you.
interrupt.
No, I appreciate it. No, plus, I also needed the background, so thank you guys.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Bill. Court.
Is October 8th enough time? Assuming if they have to go back out and do more survey work on the shellfish, is that gonna give them enough time to do that?
That's up to Megalodon, Courtney. I don't know. I mean, we could always give additional
Yeah,
time
that's
if the
true.
8th doesn't work.
Yeah. So, no,
I'm-
that's fine.
I'm
I mean, I
hopeful
think the 8th is to give us time to speak with Megalodon.
Okay.
And if we're missing something, it can be cleared up. If we're not missing something and we are correct and we do think additional work needs to be done out there, then Mike can always ask for additional time. We're not going to hold it against him.
Yeah, I won't either.
Mike's not doing the survey.
we think it's a clarification matter. We don't think it's a more
Yeah.
survey work matter.
So I'll make a motion then to continue this to October 8th.
Driscoll second.
We have a motion a second to continue this hearing until October 8th. Any other comments or questions from the commission? Jen, anything in chat?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jen. All right, we'll go ahead and call the roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Van Nuys.
Ron,
Driscoll eye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Dantai.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye, so it's unanimous that this hearing is continued until October 8th.
Thank you. And I apologize for going back and forth about the plan without sharing my screen. Someone please, hey, idiot, share your screen. I'm happy to take that because it's easier. It's better than the alternative. So
Be happy to remind you that, Mike.
Okay, I'll do it as well.
anyone could. Thank you.
Love to call Mike an idiot. Yeah.
Sometimes you lose your place when you're on here. So appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too,
All right.
Mike.
Good night, Mike.
All right, next up is a continued request for a certificate of compliance. Edward Escuderian, 11 Tonson Road, Mass. Request for a certificate of compliance for Mass DEP number 25-4735. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am going to pass this one over to Alyssa. She's done all the work on this one.
That's Alyssa.
Thank you. Yes. So as we left off last time, the commission was going to conduct a site visit to determine if the fence in the velocity zone along the southern property line and shortly up the eastern property line could remain. As noted previously during the NOI process, it was required to be removed. We just missed that special condition in the order of conditions. Since that time, something was lost in translation. It was actually expanded a bit. And so now this is the point of contention for issuing the COC after all the plant work is finalized. So I know the homeowner was advocating for keeping the fence. They like the fence, provides privacy. I think they noted it might act as a windscreen at times, and the neighbors were happy about it. I'm looking at the participants. I don't see Mr. Eskandarian. If anybody is here representing him, if you could raise your hand. I don't know why someone isn't here. I know he was actively involved, so I'm not sure if the commission would want to make a decision tonight, or I can reach out and see what happened and we can continue to another day. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. All right. What's your pleasure? What do we have to do on this, Jen? Do we have to close this and take it under advisement, or can we just go ahead and continue it?
Well, we can continue it to get Mr. Eskandarian if he wants to. There's two issues. One, the plants, two, the fence. The fence is the biggest issue. If the board is going to require the removal of the fence, then we're not going to issue compliance. If the board's going to allow the fence to remain, we still can't issue compliance until we work with him on the vegetation. There's a lot of problems with the vegetation on that site, and we need to work with him. We think we have a plan to work with him to get the vegetation on. I think he's just looking for some clarity about whether or not he needs to remove the fence in order to gain compliance once we get the plant issue settled. And if the board's going to require the fence to be removal while he is, either redoing the plants, redesigning the plants, then maybe he can engage with somebody to put a vegetated barrier where the fence was. Correct, Alyssa? So it really depends on how the board feels about this fence in a velocity zone, which you typically do not allow. A portion of the fence, yes, was there, but the fence was extended. They were asked to remove that, and then it was extended again. So it's mostly the fence. If this is Tonsett Road, this is Buzzards Bay over here. It's the fence that's this between 11 Tonsett and 7 Tonsett, I think.
Yeah.
And
Number
then
7.
it's a little L shape like that.
Dave, I see your hand up.
Do we expect Mr. Eskandarian to be here tonight? It seems like this is the kind of thing maybe we shouldn't decide.
I did email him the agenda yesterday. It was in the email chain that we've been using, so I'm not sure. I know he's been involved in the process, and
Seems
probably
maybe we shouldn't decide without him here.
Okay, we can continue this out. I mean, that's fine.
I think it's pretty cut and dry on the fence, though, as far as staff is concerned. That has to go, and it's just, he has to do the mitigation over under the advisement of you guys. Was that what you're thinking?
Well, no, we can't issue the certificate of compliance until the vegetation is completed, Ronnie, but I do think Mr. Eskandarian wanted some sort of ruling on the fence.
Well, we can have a vote on that. He'll have that information.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to require that he remove the fence.
Driscoll second.
So we have a motion and a second to remove the fence. Any other comments by the commissioners? Jen,
He's going to keep part of it that was there originally, or the whole thing's going? That's what I want
No,
to clarify.
he can keep the part that was originally there.
Okay.
So I'll amend the motion to make it clear. The newer portions of the fence. The
Thank you, Courtney.
pre-existing fence is staying. It's just the new stuff.
That's not clear enough. Jen, that fence it's in the backyard, right? It's behind
Yeah.
number 9. That's the part that stays. The part that's between 9 and 11 goes.
No,
for the most part.
7.
Yes.
Perpendicular to the beach. It comes right out to the stone wall and goes all the way
Yeah.
along the 2 homes to the back corner. That has to come
Correct.
out.
Correct.
And then
You
the
need to-
one between the 2 properties on Santuit, a
Part of it.
portion of that needs to be removed, but a portion can remain. Correct.
All right, Courtney, go ahead and make your motion with that.
Yeah, that's my motion.
Driscoll second.
Okay. We will.
All right.
Who owns spray paint? What has to be removed?
All right. So, nothing in the chat, right? So
Nope, you have to take the vote. Yep.
we're going to take the vote. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Hey, Russ. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Russ. I'm a little confused with what the motion is. Can we reword it for me? What are we voting on?
We're voting.
I'm
Move
going to
the-
make it very easy
Remove
for you
unpermitted
guys.
fence.
All
There
the
you
way
go.
back,
Perfect.
and the bit on the other road too.
Anything that's unpermitted that hasn't been in the picture since 2005.
Okay. I got it.
All right. Keith.
Pat and I.
Ron.
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie.
Bowman, I.
Dave.
Can't I?
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So it's unanimous to ask Mr. Stadarian to remove the unpermitted fence at the 11 Tonset. Okay. Takes care of that. Next is continued hearings under enforcement order. Seashell Lane Community Association, Inc., 0 Davisville Road, map/parcel 40-11-013-000, East Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted clearing, cutting, and construction within flood zone within a buffer to a salt marsh. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my apologies. This one is being continued to November. I believe it's the 5th.
5th.
November 5, I believe.
You need a motion to that effect.
And just to give the board an update, we did meet with the association yesterday. So, this was in response to them pulling the application for the dock, which we were trying to get the restoration done within that notice. They withdrew their notice, forcing the town to issue the enforcement letter. And in the hearing, they have responded. We met with the new leadership, I guess, of the association 2 days ago. In our office, and we're hopefully going to have a plan to work with them to bring something to this board, this board and the staff can support and approve.
Okay, Jen.
Just an update.
So you need a vote.
So we're continuing this. Are you recommending a continuous date?
Yes, continue to November 5th.
So I'll move to continue this hearing until November 5.
Wait 1 second, real quick. Someone popped something into the chat, just real quickly.
Yes, I saw that, Bill. It has to do with the next next agenda item. But thank you.
Just a second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to continue on November 5th. Any other comments or questions? Nothing in the chat, Jen?
Not pertaining to this project.
So call the roll. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
John.
Driscoll, aye.
Money.
Bowman, aye.
Dave.
Can't I?
Bill. And Robin.
Duffy, aye.
Unanimous until November 5th. Okay, other business. Town meeting petition is article number 20, authorize a conservation restriction to the Falmouth Conservation Commission, 0 West Falmouth Highway, parcel ID is 26 04 057A 001 and 26 04 062A 000. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I'll read the chat afterwards. So this is on the agenda because there was a petition article. There were 2 petition articles placed on the select board's agenda. I believe it wasn't this past Monday, but they're last Monday. Both pertain to the same piece of property in West Falmouth in which the town meeting voted. I believe in November of 2024, and I could have that date wrong. It could have been April of 2024. It was either April of 2024 or November of 2024 to put this property in or designate it for affordable housing. I believe an RFP has already been issued for this parcel. There was a petition article to place this conservation restriction on the parcel to be held either by Article 19 said the 300 committee or Article 20 said the Conservation Commission. It is my understanding, and it has been my understanding for 20 years, that the town, meaning the Concom, cannot hold a conservation restriction and on a town-owned parcel, meaning the town cannot hold a CR on itself. We are part of the town. We are considered a town body. That opinion is shared by the executive director of both the 300 committee and of another land trust in town who I spoke with this morning. I do believe the petitioners submitted the article that they work with council. We would have to check with council. In any way, it is the again, my opinion, the opinion of the executive director of the 300 committee, that the Concom cannot hold a CR on land that the town owns. That said, this piece of property has already been voted by town meeting to be used for affordable housing. To come in, I just don't think that it would, how do I say this? It's already been decided by the town and voted by town meeting that this parcel should be used for affordable housing. When the town looks at projects, whether it be a new fire station, a new police station, the outfall pipe we're working on, a new library, affordable housing, the town looks at the town's land as a whole. And then they go through a process where they eliminate certain pieces of property for various reasons. One, property owned by the Concom is usually first and foremost taken off the list because it's very difficult to take property in Concom jurisdiction if it's purchased with certain funds to get it out of that. They then look at, are there wetlands issues, and then they eliminate those parcels. So the town goes through a very deliberative process on how it's going to use the land we own. And this has already been decided to be affordable housing. So that's what I say. I'd like, I
Jen,
can read the chat, but
I got
I think,
quick question for you.
Sure.
Is there any wetlands, vernal pools, anything in
No.
that? Nothing. Okay.
nothing. We were not asked to evaluate this property during that process.
Mhm.
If there was some concerns raised during that process that the town went through, the planning department went through, it would have been raised with the Concom. There's no natural heritage issues. There's no critical habitat issues. There's no wetland issues out there. I just don't think the board, or I can't recommend the board supporting holding a CR for one, the reasons that, again, my opinion, I don't think we can hold a CR on town property. I don't think the state would approve it. And two, we just haven't been provided the opportunity to evaluate this property properly in order to hold a CR. And it's already been decided by the town to put it into affordable housing. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
So do we need to act on this?
Excuse me, Russell, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we need to take a vote on this, correct? But we have something in chat from
Correct.
one of the petitioners, so
Yeah.
we should put that on the record, and then
Yep.
we'll ask any comments or questions
Okay.
after that too.
So this is a this is a chat by the petitioner. Eric, I am going to apologize right now. I'm going to spell your last name so I do not mangle it. So the petitioner's last name is spelled HRYNNIEWICZ. Eric was one of the petitioners for of this, and he said, I would like to put in a comment about warrant article number 20, conservation restriction on parcel ID 26040578A001 and ID 26040628A000. Since it was mentioned, it will be discussed. We apologize for any confusion created as we are learning the particulars of the process processes as we go. Understandable, Eric. We originally believed the town needed to act first in relation to a CR. We are working to amend the article to change the proposed CR to be held by a suitable third party. We submitted the warrant article under the guidance from town council in which she instructed the select board can grant a conservation restriction on land that it holds to the Concom or a third party. As mentioned, we feel that given more complete information in the importance of public land for public use and ecosystem services, it would be prudent for the town meeting to consider a conservation on this land purchased by the town in 1931 as part of the purchase of land parcels surrounding Long Pond drinking water supply. Thank you. You're welcome, Eric. The board will take a vote, and the vote will be whether or not we support the Conservation Commission holding a CR on this parcel. We are not going to make any or take any vote regarding a third party holding a conservation restriction on this parcel. Correct, Mr. Chairman? Muted, Russell, but I think you said correct.
That is correct, Jen. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make that clear for the petitioners that we are going to take a vote only solely on whether or not the Concom would hold the CR.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So we would want a positive motion here that we would vote. The positive motion would be to the effect that we would authorize ourselves to
No, Courtney, I think you're just confusing. It is not a hearing, Courtney. I think
Okay.
a simple vote, not unfortunately.
That's why I wanted to ask.
To respectfully not support the Concom holding the CR is fine. It's not a hearing, Courtney.
Okay.
That's presented.
But I'll move that we not support the petitioner's article to make this
Just a second.
The Falmouth Conservation Commission holding the restriction.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody clear on that? So we're voting not to accept the conservation restriction on this piece of property. All right. I'm going to call. Is there anything else, Jen? Nothing else in the chat?
Nothing else in the chat, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And Alyssa, you all set? You have any comment? Nope. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call the roll. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
Driscoll, aye.
Bowman, aye.
Dave.
Can't I?
Billy. Bill. Bill.
Oh, sorry. Duffy, aye.
And Robbins is aye. So that's unanimous. So we voted not to support the Falmouth Conservation Commission holding a conservation restriction on this piece of property. All right.
Correct.
Moving on. Vote order of conditions for Joan Goldberg, 208 Mill Road, Falmouth. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the little kayak dock in Mill Pond. It doesn't quite meet the dimensions that the board allows. You have allowed slightly larger prefab type of kayak launching systems on particularly Coonamessett Pond. Our concerns is this was a bought off the internet kind of structure, doesn't really meet a lot of the requirements. My concern is it's resting on the bottom. They came up with, and forgive me, I don't remember the term
sleeper on
that
the
was
bottom.
used, but
Sleeper.
something.
A sleeper.
Sleeper. Okay,
you
thank
got
you, Ronnie. Some sort of sleeper board, Ronnie?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't hit the bottom if the water went down.
Yeah, so it wouldn't rest on the bottom. I mean, the applicant can always remove the internet bot structure and replace it with one that's more compliant to your regs. But these types of kayak launch systems are generally prefabbed.
All right.
Alyssa has
So
something.
Hi, Alyssa. Go ahead.
Just a note, we had reference to a bubbler. I believe we wanted to condition if the system does not come out seasonally to
Correct.
install a bubbler. They said the area doesn't freeze over, so I don't know if the board is content with them just having one and using it should the time come. I'll let you decide the language.
Jen, have we required them to be removed before in the winter? You know, make it a season like 6 months or something. Didn't we do something like that on one of these before? We required them to bring it. It was like, I forget, May to October or something, and it had to be out. I
We
might be
have done seasonal structures before. We most notably you've done them on Flax Pond,
Fresh
over
water.
there in East Falmouth. And what you've typically done is required, but these are like these didn't have this kayak launch kind of setup to it. They were just pipe supported very small pier structures, and what you would have them do is install some PVC pipe so that the structure went in the same location each year.
Sleeves.
I don't know if we
Exactly.
can do that. I think that's what I was thinking, that, you know, because we wanted those float stops, if they could put the PVC in and then somehow block it off so when they put the structure down, it would be raised instead of the sleeper board.
Yeah.
But you have I can't remember if the applicant said they removed it seasonally.
No, it's
Maybe
permanent.
It's
big
permanent.
structure, I don't think they do.
Yeah, so the ones on Flax Pond, they have a PVC sleeve and a pipe goes down into it. It's easier to come in and out.
Correct.
I've done a ton of
That
that.
must have been what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's a different application.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah. I make a motion to approve the orders with the condition of having a bubbler on hand. I don't think they're gonna need it, but I think we need to condition that.
I'll second it.
We motion by Ronnie, I'm sorry, and a second by Courtney. So as discussed, I guess is what we'll put the right. Move to approve as discussed. All right. So does anyone else got any comments? Anything else they want in the orders? Okay. I'm not muted again. Am I?
No,
No, you're
Oh,
fine.
you're
Russ.
good.
It's telling me I'm muted for some reason. All right. I'll call the roll. Since there isn't anything else. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Let's go on.
Paul and I.
Ronnie, Dave,
Anti.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
Robbins is aye. So unanimous to approve as discussed. All right. Next up is vote amended order of conditions. Karen Alcott, trustee, Small Cottage Nominee Realty Trust, 141 Fay Road, Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
Yes, so this is to approve a deck, additional mitigation, and Alyssa, the gravel in the B zone, does she want to keep?
Without mitigation.
Yeah, and then to keep the gravel in the B zone without the mitigation. She will be mitigating for the deck.
Okay.
Anything else, Alyssa? Do we need to check those planting areas or anything like that?
Yes, the staff had one concern with the planting area that was already installed for the new gravel in the zone A. It's the one kind of under the hedge by all
yes,
of this
that's right.
gravel. as you can see in the picture, it's very shaded. The hedge is not going to allow a lot of room for upward vertical growth. It just doesn't seem like an appropriate area once visiting the site. But that is up to the commission. And then just confirming that you were content with the proposed and already installed new mitigation other than that.
Okay, discussion.
All right, I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions as discussed.
Driscoll second.
Any other discussion? All right, I hear none. I'm gonna call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Gentile.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is aye. Okay, so we've issued a amended order of conditions for 141 Bay Road. Is there anything else before I call for the?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Driscoll second.
All right, Robbins is an aye.
Bowman, aye.
Bird eye.
Gentile.
Well,
Driscoll, aye.
Duffy, aye.
all right, we are closed.